Hey guys, welcome to Fiona's Universe, or welcome back. Today we are doing a very spontaneous video that I came up with this morning, and it is to plot an entire book. I am not the first person to ever do this, don't get me wrong, but in today's video I really want to focus on spilling all the tea. I'm not going to gatekeep details from you guys, because if I'm being real, this is not directed at anybody in particular. This is just something I've noticed, but I noticed that a lot of people on AuthorTube, in all videos, gatekeep their books and what they're about. Honestly, that just makes me as a viewer not invested whatsoever in what you're doing, which is why I always aim to share the juicy details with you guys, like in my NaNoWriMo vlogs, if I am, writing the first kiss scene, or if something happens and I want to spill the tea to you guys and share quotes. I'm not afraid to do that, because the vast majority of us here on AuthorTube are unpublished, and we don't have these contracts of non-disclosure and stuff. It's just people gatekeeping their work in fear of being copied, or maybe just wanting to keep it more private, which I understand, but as a viewer I like AuthorTube videos where people talk about the project, because that's why I'm there, for motivation, and it'll make me want to buy their book in the long run. So with that being said, we are going to plot an entire book together today, and that will include me sharing all the details. Look at this little monster. Hi, sweetie. I love her. Whoops, can't curse on YouTube, but anyway, you guys get it. My little baby is here for the writing journey today. I am probably going to do this on the wall that's right behind you guys, because it is blank. And I don't have any sticky notes, which is what people typically use for this, but I think we're just gonna use pieces of paper, small pieces of paper. And if you were wondering, after I yapped about talking about my project for so long, I am gonna choose an entirely new one, something that I haven't worked on before really, something that's in the bare bones stage. I talked a lot about projects I have in that stage in my talking about all my books video, which you guys really seem to like, and I really appreciated that. But definitely go watch that video if you are new to my channel, or if you haven't seen it, because I talk about a lot of books here on the channel, most of which are mine. So just to be aware of those, the vibes, the aesthetics, the characters, and the plots. So I actually don't know which one of those books we're gonna do today for this video. I am gonna currently, as we speak, look on Pinterest and decide. You don't want me to go, do you, Judy? You don't want me to go. Oh, she's so sweet. Okay, we are officially looking for a project to plot. This is going to be challenging. I'm not gonna lie to you. This is gonna be challenging, because we're starting from basically nothing. So let's pick something that I at least have a lot of motivation for. It's either going to be this project, which I'm nicknaming Remembrance. It's called Quote the Living. Or it's going to be Project Princess, which I can't find. Look at her. Oh, look at the baby. Okay. I think we're gonna do Project Princess because I have a lot more motivation to write in this genre at the moment than I do a literary fiction. This is more fantasy, it's more fairy tale-esque, I suppose you could say. And it's a little bit dystopian too, which goes hand in hand with my NaNoWriMo project for this year that you guys might have seen me working on in recent weeks. Because I don't have sticky notes, we are going to do this right here where I'm sitting, and we're gonna write out all the plot points together and then stick them up to the wall after. I think that's what I want to do. For now, enjoy this gallery of aesthetic pictures for the project that we are going to be doing today. I actually cannot wait. I've been really wanting to dive into this duology perhaps, or maybe it's going to be a standalone. Probably not though. And we really need to start plotting if that's gonna happen. I'm having a minor problem, and that is that my notebook is over there and my cat is right here. So Say hello to the video. Say hello. Say I'm a bit grumpy because mom moved me. Yeah. You can sit next to me, sweetie. You sit right next to me, okay? Problem solved. Alright, notebook has been acquired. I have flipped to the back because I don't want to like ruin like the beginning of the book, but I'm gonna use this as my like sticky notes to put up on the wall. Really quick, I'm gonna go over the whole Pinterest board on my own. I might like share some of like the really juicy stuff with you guys. So generally this girl's gonna have like blood red hair, which I love. And then there's gonna be a lot of like celestial aesthetic and like dark purple, which is really random but also makes me happy. And then a lot of fairy tale elements like the poison apple, once upon a time, stuff like that. And then also a lot of trauma, which I mentioned in my talking about all my books video. This girl has, like all my protagonists, gone through it and is going to find a new life elsewhere. There's going to be a ghost girl in it, a lot of horses, a library with the moon floating in the center of it, and a lot of crow motifs. But yeah, that's like some random stuff I have. I am gonna quickly go over the plot with you guys that I have laid out. I think I wrote it in my notes app a long time ago. Let's see about that. My button disconnected and now I'm sad. If you guys watch my videos a lot, you know I love that button dearly, but it's okay. Okay, we're trying to find whatever I've been calling this project, which I think has to be Project Princess. I don't even know if I have a note for it in my notes app, which is like basically dooming myself before I even start. I've just discovered that Project Princess does not have a notes app page, which is concerning to say the very least, because that's basically all I need to start a book. But if I don't even have that, okay, if I sort this little paragraph from one of my old notes into this new page, I think we will be fine because there is ideas in here, just not a lot of them. Let me read this out to you guys, what I have so far. So I wrote, modern day princess. In a dystopian world where government has fallen apart, new rulers are elected. Out of all the eligible women, the MC is chosen to be arranged married to the prince. Once she is there, she is treated horribly by him because his family has a secret. They have magic and have manipulated society into electing them into power. Spoiler alert! And then there's a quote, going back to the days where we didn't use too much, when we ourselves were not too much. So they're trying to go back in time and like reinstate society using their magic. And then it goes, second chance romance. She doesn't remember him because her mind was altered by their magic. Love that. She tries to escape by unaliving herself on the second night, and he catches her because of the wards around the castle. They work together to overthrow the evil dictator parents and mind warp those who witness it, saying it was assassins. So there's going to be an alias in here that's like a fake group that they come up with. That's also pretty cool. So what I'm getting from this is we need to have a backstory for these two main characters. We have to design this alias group, which I think could potentially be the title of the book. And then we also need to figure out how they're gonna scheme together to overthrow these evil dictators. I also think it would be cool if they like manipulated this alias into something a lot more. So maybe they actually did execute a lot of these like unaliving efforts to like make it really believable. And then finally at the bottom here we have the quote, magic is not real, which is going to be something that is said a lot, even though it's ironic because it clearly is real. I don't know. She maybe doesn't believe in magic, and there obviously evidence that there is magic, this magical family is. So I don't know, man, this is hard. I think I did a better job of explaining the plot in my other video where I talked about all my books, but that is the vague plot we're going for. I'm currently sorting these little things into bullet points just so it's easier on my brain when I'm trying to plot this. I'm so mad. I just found the Google Doc with all the brainstorm points on it. I love my life. See, I knew that there was more to this. I just knew it. I just knew that I had done more. On this document, I have sorted it by the basic plot, which is basically the paragraph I just read to you guys, and then the theme of the book, which is misuse of magic / power is devastational. And then I also wrote a little thing about how once upon a time is repetition dialogue in the story. So I think we're gonna do that for the first chapter, actually. Once upon a time, there was an orphan who became a princess. Once upon a time, there was a princess who had all her dreams come true. Once upon a time, there was a stupid girl making an enormous mistake. I feel like that's cute. It could be the opening of the book. And then also I had done a bullet for the world, which I really appreciate now. So basically the story is going to begin in winter, it says here. Oh my goodness. Okay, she's going to notice that the world is rotting but healing thanks to the magic, which I think is cool. And then there's going to be a society of disenchanted people who are finding hope thanks to the magic. Gangs, rebels, people who reject the new rulers, return to the past but better thanks to magic. Palace built and visited across North America. So that's where this is set. Instead of an election, there's a coronation. And then there's a little quote here that's pretty cool. I presumed it felt like autumn here all year round. That or winter. It was cold, certainly. I love how I write. I'm sorry. It's so pretentious. Anyway. Animals have become estranged and feral at times due to the presence of magic. Plants have become enchanted, poisonous, or alive. I love that. And then working to rebuild the education system to incorporate magical elements. And then lastly, for the world, we have the castle is built in the side of a mountain, which I love. There's a lot of purple elements. Purple velvet and purple trees are examples of that. And then I have some characters laid out here. So we have the FMC, who is traumatized because she has no family. And she has a lot of events in her past, such as being left out in snow when she misbehaved at her orphanage. And she does not remember the male main character, who is grumpy, morally gray, and awfully rude. Hates everyone but her, my favorite trope. And then he chose her as his princess because he knows her from the past. And then I wrote a little bracket here that says, think PETA throwing bread to Katniss moment. I'm so obsessed with that. And then we have the ghost bestie, as I'm calling it. None of these people have names, by the way, which is something we're gonna need to do. But she scares the FMC at first. She has a sheer skirt that floats above the ground. She first sees her on the grand staircase. There's a little quote, my only friend is a ghost. And then there is a prince, or the prince, male main character, who had a brother who unalived himself to be with the ghost, bestie. He never came back to haunt the palace, so she is lonely and depressed until she meets the female main character. And then we're gonna have it so that that prince's brother, he might be coming back to make an appearance later as a ghost. Anyway, that is gonna be an element because he can help them eventually take over the palace and the world, essentially, because he's seen a lot and heard a lot, and he knows the juicy details because he can be invisible. Anyway, we also have an alchemist who is going to be crazy, and then the king and queen, who the only bullet I have here is evil. They are evil, so it's really thorough, Fiona. Great work. Let's begin. I don't expect our progress here to be linear at all. I don't even expect to have this be the final chapter outline, but this is what we're doing for now. So I'm gonna write 1, and we're gonna write some things that I know I want in chapter 1 or in the first few chapters. Actually, no, I changed my mind. We're not going chapter by chapter because that's a little bit too in-depth right now. We're gonna do this as act 1, which I don't usually use the 3-act structure because I just think it's kind of cliche, but I mean, it works for some people. But we're gonna do act 1, so like the beginning up to the climax of the story. All right, I did need to plot the first chapter because I felt like I needed to get it out of my system. That's what we have here. Here we have 2, which again, I think I am gonna more specifically go into these as chapters because in the beginning, I have a lot more stuff that I need to lay down, like world building, character introductions, stuff like that. So it needs to be a lot more in depth, if that makes sense. But generally, we're just doing like a 3-act structure. Does that make sense? I hope it does. I'm gonna quickly write Act 1 at the top of this page because I forgot to do that. But for now, what we have is for chapter 1, horses in the snow, which is always what I've pictured for this chapter. She's basically in a carriage going to her wedding, and she sees horses cross their path. And then there's going to be an intro to her backstory that links to the snow. There's also going to be the line, magic is not real. That's the last line of the chapter, which goes straight into the next chapter, which is going to start with magic is real. I like that. And then also the chapter is going to start with once upon a time repetition, like I already said. For chapter 2, we have the introduction to the palace setting, mountain, purple. Animals will be included later on, I wrote. And then we meet the male main character who has eyes and hair of silver. It's gonna be something that we include. And then probably before that, she's going to meet the king and queen, and that's gonna spur a little bit more world building without being info dumpy, which can be hard, but since she's meeting these people for the first time, I think it's appropriate for her to reflect on how they were appointed and stuff like that. So that will be included in chapter 2 as well. And it's going to end with a little spicy piece of dialogue. Don't be too literal with that. I don't mean spicy as in smutty. I mean like something that kind of is going to spark their enemies to lovers and their spite for each other. I don't know what it's going to be yet, but it'll come to me when I write the book. All right, we have a lot done here. I have been scribbling away. So what I have come up with is after their initial meeting with the family, she is locked in her room and things start to take a turn for the worse. So she kind of goes through the motions of all the new princess things, like getting a new wardrobe. She's very isolated. She realizes the food is not very good either, like they haven't taken much care on it. And that section is going to end with her meeting the ghost, and the ghost is going to give some more insight into the family, their little secrets and stuff like that, and how she died as well. She's gonna give a tour of the castle, and she's a very sweet, bubbly character, especially given how she died. So that's something I love about her. This is where we're gonna see a little bit of insight about the main character's past when she finds this book that she had a copy of in her orphanage that was taken away from her, and that was sort of when she stopped believing in magic. And then he is going to catch them together, her and the ghost, gossiping about him. Love that. The male main character, that is. And he's going to invite her to dinner with the royal family, who still treat her like crap when she's at that dinner. We then move into sort of the wedding stuff that I have schemed up a little bit. They sort of pretend to be nice to her for that day to fake it to the society. And then she's gonna kidnap the prince in her closet when he comes to, consummate the marriage. So then she's gonna demand that he help her get out of this situation. And that's basically the plot. So I have up to like roughly chapter 11 planned where things are gonna take a turn and she's gonna get this alias idea where there's like a group of assassins that don't exist but are very believable. So yeah, that's what we've got so far. I'm not gonna go much further. I'm gonna plan the middle and the end, and then we're gonna stick it up to the wall. Like I said, I don't really do the whole inciting incident thing. Like I don't do the traditional like plot structure, although most books fall into that naturally. I sort of just finished off my chapter plans with like an inciting moment where she gets her main idea for how they're gonna take care of this problem that they have, because in all books we need, say it with me, a problem and a solution. Yay! Okay, I'm moving on to planning the middle. So I'm just gonna do a list of sort of chronological points of what I want to happen in the middle, because that's about where the middle is gonna start, chapter 10 or 11. And then we'll do the end. I also just came up with the idea that the alias they come up with for this assassin group could be something to do with the ravens, because she finds that raven book that she had learned about magic in. So that might be like sort of a full circle connection. I don't know. I just came up with like a tentative title for like maybe the book. I don't know, man. I don't know. But the group could be called Wings of Dusk. I like that better than like the Raven something. I feel like that the Wings of Dusk just sounds more like spooky and ominous, and like the dark souls of these people would emanate. And also I came up with then the idea that the male main character secretly has wings, because I love a male main character with wings. So he could also have the Wings of Dusk. Guys, what is this? I don't know. It's not that good. It's garbage actually, but I feel like we might be getting onto something, which is better than what I had when we started. Okay, everyone, we have done some serious thinking in this little brain today. So I plotted Act 2, and I also did a little section called Random. So that's something I like to do in my plotting process because it gives me filler chapters that also are really good and like juicy. So I can stick them in wherever I see fit as I go, because this is not going to remain set in stone whatsoever. All right, let me share a little bit of Act 2 with you all. We finished off at where she decided she wants to launch this plan with the Raven group of assassins that don't exist. Okay, so she establishes the plan. They use this alchemist friend to spread some poison across the land and make their scheme more believable. They have the brother that returns to fulfill his purpose as a ghost. There's going to be a lot of magical creatures, magical foods, magical shops, a lot of atmospheric stuff, obviously, all throughout, and then some near-death scenes, because we love those. And then they also need to find the antidote for the forgetfulness mind tricks that this family has inflicted upon society and on the princess. So that's gonna be cool. I want Act 2 to wrap up with the peak of the romance. So it sort of builds throughout this act, but there's going to be a declaration of love and remembrance, as I say, because that's dramatic. But essentially, he's going to help her remember with this antidote and with his words that they have known each other in the past, and it's a second chance romance. There's going to be a reveal of his sort of, I almost said ailment, but it's honestly such a good thing that he has wings. There's going to be some dramatic quotes that I wrote down that I am going to gatekeep for now. And then there's going to be the start of a second uprising. So people are going to start remembering and get very, very angry that their minds have been tampered with all this time. And then we move into some random points. I'm going to share these once we have it stuck up on the wall. If I forget, I'll put a clip in right now that said I forget. And if I didn't forget, you'll know. Okay, so moving on to Act 3, which I also plotted. I am doing the least on this one because I know how I want the book to end now, but I am not going to go into too much depth because I feel like a lot more of this stuff will come to me after writing. Judy. But essentially, I'm going to have the ghosts return to their corporeal state. So cool. The parents are vanquished. The second uprising ends up being their demise, essentially, and she's gonna say something along the lines of, we as one are the ravens or something. Like, they're all collectively working towards the same cause once they've remembered. And then the kingdom will be restored happily ever after, etc. We're also gonna have a lot of cute romance stuff here, including the mandatory nightmare scenes and backstory reveals along with that. And then the book is going to end with them having a second wedding where they are very much in love and they're not being controlled by the evil dictators. And also the ghosts are going to be able to get married as well, and they're going to have some kids. And then instead of them settling down, the two main characters are going to fly across the world like he always promised with his wings. And I feel like that's such a beautiful ending because it has to do with the wing metaphor as well. That's what we're working with. That's what we're working with. Let me know what you think. We're gonna stick it up to the wall now. I can't wait. Time to cut the map. My cats are stepping on the papers. We're switching the camera angle because my cats won't stop stepping on the papers we just spent so much time on. I'm gonna trim them up to make them look a little bit cuter, and then we'll stick them to the wall. We've made it to the wall. I am so excited. Now it's time to sort these because now they're out of order, and to stick them up to the wall, and then we'll do a little recap, and I'll show you all my random brainstorm points. My cats are being really bad, but we're just gonna have to ignore whatever noises they decide to make. I'm gonna start over here, maybe? First one done! I tried to film a time lapse and it looked really bad, so I'm just gonna speed up the clip to my own liking. Okay? Spoiler alert, some of them are already up. All right, we have the Act 1 points up on the wall. It looks a little silly, I think, but that's okay. And then I'm gonna do Act 2 and Act 3, and then random in the middle. Ta-da! I'll do a close-up for you guys of what this looks like with the writing and everything in just a minute, but let's first go over the layout once more. So we have Act 1 with chapters planned. We then have Act 2 with bullet points. We have random, where I can put wherever I please, and we have Act 3 up until the last sentence of the book. All right? For random, let's go over some of the ones that I have schemed. So we have, she gets poisoned by an apple. Very fairy tale-esque, and it will introduce the alchemist character who saves her. We also have a ball, because I can't write a fantasy, even if it's a magical realism, without a ball in it. And this is where we also will see the ghosts get to dance together, which is going to be fun. We also have magical shops. I have named them. I might change the names. But we have a touch of magic, which is going to be like a magical relics store. I also want to do an apothecary. And then we have the book tavern, which I thought could be like a cute little book cafe. And then the poisoned apple cafe. Well, the book tavern will be more of a restaurant. All right? A restaurant with books. And then I also wrote anxiety/panic attack rep because I feel like it's pretty much in all my characters. And this one especially it makes sense for. And then we have the Raven book quotes. So she's gonna like read the Raven book and sort of recall her past and make some metaphorical conclusions. And then we have black bows against blood red curls. Why did I write this? I just saw a picture with a girl with red hair and black bows in it, so I thought it would look cute, and we're gonna make her wear those often. And then on the smaller sticky note, we have stars on her ceiling. So she's gonna have like a 4-poster bed with a velvet night sky over her head. Ghosts in the theater, so there's gonna be a theater in the palace, and they wanted to be actors, so that kind of adds to their character arc, because eventually they're gonna get to accomplish that goal. And then stained glass all over the castle. I wanted to make a note of that to remember. And then riding horses in the mist is like kind of an ode to the first chapter where she has horses cross her paths, and she's kind of always been intrigued by them, but has obviously never been in a place in her life where she was able to ride one. So that's going to be a good moment for them to bond. That's all I have for you in terms of random bullet points. I'm pretty sure I've read basically everything else, but I'm going to quickly show you close up what these look like, and you can pause the video and read them if you so choose, although I've shared most of the details. Obviously, it's not the prettiest, it's not the neatest, but my handwriting kind of sucks and I was going quick, okay? Let's get over it. It's fine. Literally nobody was pressed but me. Anyway, guys, that's the video. I apologize for my cat climbing in my bookshelf. You can definitely hear her doing that. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed watching me plot an entire book. This was kind of an insane journey for me. I did not anticipate doing this when I woke up this morning, but honestly, it feels good to excavate this plot from my mind because it was all in here already. It just needed a chance to come to fruition, and I think it quite literally did. I have never done this method of plotting before. I always do it on my computer, but something about seeing it laid out just makes the book make really clear sense to me. So I would highly recommend trying this out, no matter if you are a plotter or a pantser. We talked about that in my NaNoWriMo tips video. I really don't appreciate the noise you're making right now, like at all. I lost my train of thought, but in my NaNoWriMo tips video / how to write a book in a month video, we talked a lot about plotting versus pantsing. I think this is a good way, even if you're not a plotter, quote unquote, to prepare your book for a writing challenge like NaNoWriMo or for writing it in a very short span of time, because you can see it all laid out in front of you, you can have lots of ideas, but you don't have to know everything. As you may notice, there are metaphorical little gaps between the pages, which leaves room for imagination and development. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I really hope that you liked it and you are excited to hear more about this project and all my other ones, because right now we're working on something entirely different, so this was an interesting brain activity for me. But honestly, I cannot wait to start this book once Below, my current whip, is finished with NaNoWriMo, which should be any day now. With that being said, I'm posting a second NaNoWriMo vlog of the last week of NaNoWriMo starting today. I'm filming and we're gonna have that up in early December for you guys, so can't wait to share that. Me finishing a new project, one that's described in my talking about all my books video. I cannot wait for that journey to unravel, and then also this one to begin. Before this, Project Princess was nothing but a janky project title, a Pinterest board, and a forgotten Google Doc, so I'm really happy that I had the chance to do this today. I'm really happy with it. It was a good experience, and I hope you guys liked seeing how my brain sort of processes this kind of thing. It's chaotic. Without further yapping, I will let you guys go, and I love you. Have a great day. Happy writing.